Hey friends, today I have another book for you for story time, King Midas and the Golden Touch. Once upon a time there was a king named Midas who loved gold more than anything in the world. But the more gold he had, the more gold he wanted. He lived in a splendid palace with his little daughter, Marigold. Every morning Marigold went out to the rose garden to pick flowers, chase butterflies, and feed the birds. And every morning King Midas went to a secret room beneath the palace where he kept his golden treasures. He locked the door with his gold key and often said to himself, "My garden is lovely, I've been told, but not as lovely as solid gold. Gardens don't twinkle, gardens don't shine. They don't last forever like this gold of mine." One morning, King Midas sat in his secret room, building tiny towers with his gold coins. Suddenly, the room grew bright. Midas looked up and saw a stranger standing in a golden light. "Surely this is a magical being," Midas thought. "I know all about you, King Midas," said the stranger, "and I have come to grant you a wish." "Just one?" asked Midas. King Midas thought about his garden. What if all the roses turned to gold? Then he would have a great garden of gold. "I wish," said King Midas, "that everything I touch would turn to gold." "Aha," said the stranger, "you want the golden touch. Will it make you happy?" "Yes, yes," cried Midas. "How could it fail?" "Very well," said the stranger. "Tomorrow at sunrise your wish will come true." And then the stranger disappeared. Think for a minute. What could go wrong if everything he touched turned to gold? Before sunrise the next morning, Midas touched his bedside table. Nothing happened. He touched a candle on the table. Still nothing happened. King Midas felt very sorry for himself. Perhaps the stranger was only in my dreams, he thought. But then, as the first sunbeam shone through the window, his blanket turned to gold. It was as fine as spider's web. "My wish has come true," cried Midas. "I have the golden touch." Midas was so happy he leapt out of bed and ran around the room. He touched a footstool with his fingertips. At once it changed to gold. He picked up a book. The cover turned to gold. It was wonderful to see. But when he opened the book, all the words were gone. Every page was a blank sheet of gold. King Midas put on his clothes and looked in the mirror. Amazing, he thought. The silk had changed to spun gold. It felt a little heavy, but Midas didn't mind. Then he picked up a handkerchief Marigold had made for his birthday. The handkerchief turned to gold. King Midas shook his head. "Oh, that's too bad," he said. But when he put on his spectacles, those are glasses, he couldn't see a thing. Now the glass was solid gold. Oh well, he told himself. Spectacles don't matter. I only need them to read. Marigold was still asleep when King Midas ran out to the garden. The smell of roses filled the air. One by one he touched each bush, and every flower turned to gold. Even the bees and the butterflies on the petals became pure gold. By now Midas was very hungry, so he rushed back to the palace for breakfast. Besides coffee and juice, there were hot muffins, pancakes, and fresh, ripe strawberries. It looked so good. Midas could hardly wait for Marigold. Now, Marigold was a cheerful child who almost never shed a tear, but soon she came in crying. "What is wrong?" asked Midas. "Look at this rose," she sobbed. "It's beautiful," said Midas. "No, it's not. It's ugly," Marigold cried. "All the roses in the garden are ugly. They're hard and cold, and they've lost their smell. What could have happened to them?" "My sweet child," said Midas, "you're too young to understand. That golden rose is worth more than any real flower. Now dry your eyes and eat your breakfast." King Midas poured his coffee. At once, the pot turned to gold. So did the cup and saucer. "I'll have to build another room to keep my new treasures safe," he thought. "I'll start this very day." Then Midas took a sip of coffee. The instant the coffee touched his lips, it turned to melted gold. Ah! He groaned. What's the matter? Asked Marigold. She was eating a pancake covered with butter and syrup. Oh, nothing, dear, he told her. Midas touched the stem of a strawberry right before his eyes. The juicy red fruit burst to pure gold, stem and all. It was very pretty, but Midas was very, very hungry. I would give anything for a real strawberry, he thought. Midas didn't know what to do. He leaned over the plate and grabbed a hot muffin with his teeth. But the golden touch was too fast for him. Instead of a muffin, his mouth was full of burning gold. Oh, King Midas yelled. He jumped up from the table and stomped around the dining hall. What's going to become of me? He moaned. How could I have made such a wish? Marigold ran to him with tears in her eyes. Please, father, please, she cried. Tell me what's wrong. King Midas bent down and kissed her. My darling Marigold, he said, I've been so foolish. But Marigold did not answer. The moment he touched her, she changed. Midas felt her little body grow stiff in his arms. Her brown curls turned to gold. Her eyes stared without seeing, and the tears in her cheeks grew hard. Marigold was no longer a living child, but a golden statue. What have I done? Cried King Midas. With all my riches, I'm the poorest man on earth. And he fell to his knees and wept. Just then, the hall shone with a golden light. Midas looked up and saw the stranger. Well, King Midas, he asked, are you happy now? I'm miserable, Midas answered. I have lost what I really loved. And what is that? Asked the stranger. I've lost my child, said Midas. You seem wiser today, said the stranger. Would you give up your golden touch? I hate gold, said Midas. Then go to the river near your palace and bathe in the water, the stranger told him. Fill a pitcher with the same water and sprinkle it over everything you wish to change. The stranger disappeared. Midas lost no time. He grabbed a clay pitcher and trembled as it turned to gold. Then he ran down the path to the river. Into the water he jumped, clothes and all. What a great splash he made! In an instant, he felt lighter from head to toe. As he filled the pitcher with water, he watched it turn from gold to clay. King Midas had never been so happy. At last, he thought, I've washed away the golden touch. But the sands of the river turned gold from his bath, and they're gold to this very day. Midas rushed back to the palace. Quickly, he splashed water over the golden statue of Marigold. No sooner did the water fall on her than the color returned to her cheeks. Please, father, stop, she cried. You're getting my dress all wet. A glimmer of gold remained in Marigold's hair, but she did not know she had been a golden statue. She knew nothing about the golden touch, and Midas did not tell her. Outside in the garden, King Midas sprinkled water over every bush. The garden came back to life. The bees buzzed, the butterflies fluttered their wings, and all the flowers bloomed. Years later, when King Midas was a very old man, Marigold's children sat on his lap as he stroked their silken curls. Tell us a story, Grandpa, they said. So Midas told them the story of his golden touch. Is that why you never wear a gold crown? They asked. That's right, my little ones, he said. Ever since that day, I've hated this sight of gold. The only gold I love is the gold in your hair. Awesome. What a great story. See you tomorrow.